It's so rich. You can write so much about it and how you feel and how it makes the characters feel. It's incredible, especially knife play. It's like, whoo.
I think you're saying, control is such a big aspect of it. And that's the thing that draws me in here as well. It's like, even for gunplay, I hate guns too. We don't really have them in the Netherlands either. So it's like a foreign object that I don't want anywhere near me at any point.
Today we're getting even kinkier, my lovers. In case you didn't get your fill with the first kink episode, don't you worry. We'll get you, my darlings. This is the kink episode part 2. On the pod this week with me is Sanne, who has written many a kink and still learns something new every day. Say hello, Sanne.
Hey.
Excellent. Now we have my lovely Andrea, who is currently terrified.
Yep, that's what I'm here for, to be scared.
And then we have Ren, who's here to be moral support for a terrified Andrea. Say hello, Ren.
Woo!
Okay, and Bel, of course, your horny imp extraordinaire, lover of all things safe, sane, and consensual. And we'll have, well, that was weird, inscribed in my headstone. Let's kick things off with our first questions, as we always do. What's the most gay pirate thing that's happened to you this week?
Oh, here's something actually a little bit, we'll say roach coded. So I've had my nose pierced for like 10 years. And somehow in the course of me being sick, I like ripped one a little bit and it got infected. So that's cool there. That's my gay pirate thing.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I won the auction for the signed Taika items in the Arts Foundation, the Tumatoy auction. So
Yay!
I guess that's out there at some point in the future. I'm trying to keep myself on a down low because I don't want people to message me about it. It was sort of piratey because I was talking to a fellow fan who outbid me. I didn't know it was me because I was bidding anonymously. I was like, I don't need my first and last name to be online. This auction site had only like put in your full name or you put in anonymous. And I was like, let's go anonymous. I don't want people to Google me and accidentally find my, namesake who actually has her life together as opposed to me. So I was like, I'll bid on anonymous. But, a fellow fan outbid me by like $200 or $300. And I was like, maybe don't do that because I think we all want this. Maybe we can work together. And then we ended up being outbid by some kind of hotshot lawyer from, Aotearoa. So I outbid him again and sort of sat feeling very anxious about it because I was like, this is a lot of money. I'm moving soon. Maybe I need the money to move instead. And I got it anyway. I am now sort of waiting to get the email to hear how much freighting it from New Zealand to the Netherlands will cost. I'm lightly terrified. I'm also slightly terrified that it will be hit with imports stuff again, and I'll have to pay VAT over it and taxes, which is no fun for something that's over $1,000. But we'll see.
Congratulations! That is so
Thank
exciting.
you.
That is so
Dinner, chicken dinner. You did it. We're so proud.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's very gay piratey, but I saw my physio and my back is actually like worse than what it was after seeing the physio. But I am home now, enjoying a long weekend after a very intense period of time of other shit. And I'm wearing my depression robe.
That is very gay parody.
It's very end of season 1, right? Your bones hurt and you're in your depression robe. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow from Baby Kraken and say, this is about to get weird. So mom, if you're listening, go listen to something else. That goes for a warning for anybody who knows me in real life and has found about this and doesn't want to hear way too much information about me. So let's set up the story. First of all, one thing. I have ADHD and as such, I have the time disease. I have no time permanence. I live my life by my calendar. That's how I've managed to adult. And I have to have alarms for everything. It can't just be a calendar reminder. It has to be an actual alarm that says, hey, start getting ready for work now. Second, when Con O'Neill did his first momentous event, when he taught us how to curse properly, they were asking people, if you're okay being on camera, turn on your camera. And I was lucky enough to be one of the people whose face kind of popped up during the event.
Yeah, of course you were. Of course it was. Go on.
And so he was teaching us. And so at some point he sees my name and he goes, and he says my name. And I've been in love with him ever since. And then my sister was kind enough that when he came out on YouTube, she went in there, grabbed the sound, filtered out the rest of the stuff, and gifted me a soundbite of Con saying my name. A few months ago, to tie these two things together, I decided that the best way for me to wake up every morning would be to hear Khan's voice saying my name. So I set my alarm sound to be that little clip that I have of Khan saying my name. Here we go. We fast forward to now. I have 2 jobs. One of them is a fun one that I love and enjoy doing. And I do that in the evenings. And I do that at least every Friday. So every Friday, I'm going to the second job. My partner and I have gotten into the habit of having a little fun before I go get ready for work, a little adult sexy time. My partner is out of town this week, but Friday afternoon rolls around and I go, you know what? I can have sexy time by myself. I'm a grown person. I don't need anybody else. I love him, but I don't need him. So I'm doing my thing. I'm having my fun. I'm getting to the best part, I'm rounding the bases, getting for home when my, hey, you need to start getting ready for work alarm goes off. So I am getting to the top of a roller coaster with no way to stop it from going down. And what I hear is, come on, Bel. Get it. Very good.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So I'm pretty sure I pulled something. And B, I started laughing immediately.
I think Con would be delighted to hear this story, to be honest.
Ringa can share with him if they so choose. But yeah. So yeah, and this happened today. And as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, I'm totally telling this story. So that is the most gay pirate thing that happened to me this week.
That's pretty gay. That's pretty gay pirate.
That's very gay pirate.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that one. It was crazy. And the timing was perfect for this episode because, of course, this episode, we're going to get kinky, my people. I'm going to start this one like the other one where I found definition of kink. And of course, the first one, or one of the first ones, made me laugh out loud because it was a sharp twist or curve in something that's otherwise straight. And I was like,
nothing about this is straight.
No, exactly. None of our kink is straight. Not even a little bit. Not otherwise or in any other way. But of course, it's a person's unusual sexual preferences. So that led me to think, and I think we are probably going to touch on this a lot during the episode. Is kink on the eye of the beholder? Is kink something that is defined by the person that is consuming it or thinking about it or doing it? Or is there a line where everybody goes, yeah, this is kinky and this is not? And my thought is, it is really an individual thing. What can be thought of as kinky to one person is everyday fare to another.
Yeah, I think I agree. Some people will think sort of even missionary sex is the only thing that you should do. Then everything else is kinky. Yeah. Even switching up positions would be kinky enough for them. So I think it's always a personal thing. And there are some things that maybe people think of as vanilla, like in definition, like missionary style. Mostly it is, I think, in the eye of the beholder as well. Anything could be a kink. It's always hard. It's hard to tag for things on our own because do we need to tag this? Is this a kink that maybe people are looking for? And I had one posted where someone went, wait, you should have added dirty talking because that's one of my kinks. You do it very well in here. And I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't even realize that was a thing that I should maybe tag for because people will enjoy it. So definitely the eye of the beholder, because I didn't see it like that. I was like, oh, just riling each other up. That's a normal part of, the way I write them anyway. So why would I include it as a tag? Well, that's why, because other people do think it's a kink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ren, I want to hear what you think, because you're a mystery to me, because I know where I'm at, where I'm terrified of everything, but I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I've dipped my toes into kinky stuff. I'm not very well versed on all the finesse and tags and everything like that. I kind of it actually takes a lot for me to read something because I can't concentrate. And but when something gets me going, it gets me going, and I just do the whole thing in one go. And I'm just open to hearing about, all these different Kinktober and all the very, very different things going on.
Yes, this fandom is very kinky, which I absolutely adore. That's another thing. So another thing that kind of gets in its eye of the beholder situation is explicit versus mature tagging on OFMD, because there's some times where I will read an explicit fic and I'm like, go, okay, that's explicit. If you're in Victorian England, that's okay. Yeah, sure. And then there are times when I go, wow, that mature one it was spicy. So even that kind of has its own.
Yeah, I didn't know until right this second there was a difference. So
there is sort of a difference, but the difference is very hard to place because it's a very wonky sort of line. And I know there's the maybe I should try and find it. There's a way to describe it, and it's like the envelope description. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like, how do you close an envelope? The amount of detail that you put in sort of would give guidelines as to if is something mature or would it classify as explicit.
Yes.
And I think that if we're talking about explicit, we're expecting sex, right? I don't think that's necessary, because if there's a lot of violence, it would also need to be explicit, but it goes the same. Like, do you sort of fade to black? Do you not quite describe, the way everything touches everything? Then it will be mature. And it could be very, very sort of sensual, and it will still be mature. I am better reading someone's reverse Big Bang at the moment, and they wanted to stay on the mature level. Their fucking sex scene is so good, and it's so sensual that I was like, this could be explicit. But just for the feelings it gives you, it doesn't describe what's happening at all. It's just the feelings, basically, like trailing hands and then thinking about how much it means. That made it feel explicit, while it really, really isn't, because there's nothing that, there's no cock going into a hole or anything. That's not happening. But it feels explicit because there's so much feeling in it, and it's amazing. I can try and see if I can find the envelope thing. It's always hard to find. I try and find it every few months, and I always lose it. I should probably just bid it somewhere at this point.
That's a very good way of describing it. And like you said, also like the fade to black. So like, are you seeing a beautiful setting where you see only the sheets or the covers and movement, and that's basically what you see? Or are you like seeing what's beneath the cover and describing everything that's happened? So there's also another thing, of course, that historically, and this is not a good thing, is that like you said at the beginning, anything but missionary between two straight people of different genders has been considered immediately like kinky or dirty or like explicit. How TV shows, get graded. And if you have so much as like a kiss between two dudes or two ladies, then immediately it goes into R-rated, like, just this is mature themes. We can't have teenagers watching this kind of situation. And of course, if we apply those rules, then everything in the fandom is explicit and kinky, because I don't think I've ever seen anything straight, even close to in fandom writing. Even the few characters that seem to be straight in the show, we were just like, nah, they just obviously didn't delve into the character enough. We would have found out that they were actually queer if we would just given it enough time. Yeah,
I was literally just thinking, I was like, oh yeah, I've never read any like Mary and Doug sex scenes. And then I was like, but then DJ even said, I mean, he might have been, just saying whatever because he felt like it, but he said that she had a thing with Evelyn. So then already out the window, it's gone again.
Yeah. I've read something with Mary and Doug one time, and it was they're having a group thing with Ed and Stede. So that is the extent of the.
Oh my god, that's so haunted. Okay, go on.
I think I've written Mary and Doug as well, but just with other people around. And I did find the envelope thing, by the way. I can read it out if you want me. If you want my weird voice to read it out for you. I also yeeted it in a chat here, so maybe I won't lose it this time around. Who knows? So it's a question on Tumblr that someone asked, a different writer. And the question is, okay, so I'm actually about to write porn for an AO3 fic, and I'm interested in knowing what the difference is between the M rating and the E rating. Able to enlighten me? And the answer is from Tinsnip. It is, mature is, and then they made love. Explicit is, and here's how they did it exactly. To wit, mature, he looked at the envelope spread out before him. God, he'd never been this hungry. Could he be gentle enough? Slow enough? He didn't want to damage it, didn't want to do anything he'd regret, but no, it seemed the envelope wanted this as much as he did. It slipped into his hands, it folded as he asked. When it was time for more, the card was waiting, and he somehow knew exactly what to do. He moved with his correspondence in a dance as old as the mail system. And when it was over, he was smiling, and the envelope was completely, thoroughly sealed. So this would be mature. The explicit one, the envelope waved its flap in the air slowly, gently, and he could see the faint shimmer of the adhesive traced along its fold. It was like a taunt, a dare. Won't you? And he would, oh God, he would, lifting the envelope firmly to his lips, licking slowly at first, then faster, more firmly, tasting the envelope's essence, the faint bitterness, the sweetness to follow. Oh, he couldn't help but smile at how it felt in his hands. It was so perfectly folded. Its paper was rough against his fingers, and its crossed folds shifted slightly as it opened it for his eager tongue. Yes, yes. Now the card, and his hand trembled as he lifted it, as he held the envelope, stretching it wide. Would it fit? Oh, yes, it would. It would fit. It slid in smoothly and quick and filled the envelope to bursting. Oh, it made for each other. And he smiled in delight at how perfect it was. He was ready. Now. With one swift movement, he folded the flap over and he pressed the flap down, and it stuck. God, it stuck perfectly, and he closed his eyes in bliss. Afterwards, he stroked the envelope and thought about the dresses. So there's your demonstration of the difference between mature and explicit with envelopes and sealing them.
Any of episodes should have been a video episode. It should have been this one, because you all missed the faces that Ren and Andrea were making and falling and out of the frame.
Left, it came back. Well, and I have because of Seinfeld, I have a fear of licking envelopes. So then I was getting
this would be kinky for you.
And I was thinking, well, now I have an envelope kink. Thank you. That's awesome.
Congrats on acquiring a new kink, Bel.
Thank you. Now I'm going to be looking at envelopes going, hello, sailor.
Oh my God. Sexiest envelope of all time. Yeah. I'll put a stamp on that one.
Exactly. Absolutely. And this kind of actually leads very well to some of the things that we're talking about in the Discord server, about sometimes the things that you're into in real life, you may not be into when you read, or vice versa. Or like me, I'll be like, I'm not really into that. And then I'll read something super spicy or super hot and go, you know what? Maybe I am into that. Maybe I should give that a shot. Maybe I need to delve into this deeper. So any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm a kinky writer, but I'm a very vanilla person in general. Then again, I am somewhere on the A spectrum, which probably doesn't help any of this at all. And most of my kink isn't about the kink per se. It's about the feelings around the kink again. So
some of the best fics I've read have been when somebody writes at the top, by the way, this is an ace person writing sex. And I'm like, wow, you do such a good job. Yeah.
The feelings.
It's the feelings.
Because they focus on what the characters are feeling over what they're actually doing. And that makes it so much easier to write. I mean, that might be different for some kink writers or, A-spec writers, but that's definitely how I do it.
In my case, it really does make it feel harder to me to have some. So not just this is what they're doing, but this is what's happening in their heads and what's making them feel. It's definitely much, much better.
So I think my brain is leaking out of my ear with these concepts you're talking about. I'm like, wait, what? I'll get there in about 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. So keep going.
Andrea's brain cook while we continue. Ren?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad this was brought up because I don't know much about it. Like I said, everything in the whole grand scheme of things. But the stuff that I have gone for or that I have liked, I seem to really lock onto it. But it's all stuff that I am not interested in person, or not something that I would encourage in person. I do like the really well drawn out fics where they take the time to build the feelings around the characters.
I have seen more disclaimers and I don't know if warnings is the right, but definitely authors saying things like, hey, this is not the correct way that you do things in real life. Like we're going, suspend your disbelief and let's pretend that they've already talked about this. Like, this is things that you need to do before you do this. And we're going to either live in a magical world where they magically can read each other's minds, or we're going to be, they at least address it where they go, and they talk about it in advance and they talked about it at length. And now here we go. It's, to me, the percentage of people that do that in this fandom is higher than some of the other fandoms that I've read stuff in, which is I think it speaks to how sensitive or how kind, I guess, or how aware maybe the fandom is or can be.
I don't know if it's an awareness or if it's more like it's a young fandom with people who are very much trying to set up how other people should behave in a way as well. And not like in a derogatory sense, but more like, hey, please be aware that this is not how you should go about it in real life, because we've also got 50 Shades,
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
That's also an example of how to not do it, and it's entered the mainstream. And I think that flag is a overwhelmingly young fandom. There are a lot of readers and people in fandom for who this is their first fandom, where they're looking for fanfic and fan art, where a disclaimer like that would work. And I come from Supernatural, which is the Wild West of fic. So we didn't do disclaimers. We didn't do any disclaimers. We just wrote what the fuck we wanted. I wrote more. I got to be honest, I thought about this last night. I think I wrote more kink in Supernatural fandom than I did for our flag. If you discount all of my Kinktober shit, because that's me going absolutely mad for 31 days a year. But apart from that, I mostly write very soft loving shit in this fandom. But for Supernatural, it's just like anything, like gunplay would be normal, basically. And I do write Izzy a lot, so gunplay would eventually probably make an appearance for me as well, because Izzy is definitely the character you can do anything to. Come on, he is like that. But I think in general, this fandom is more geared towards softness, especially because we've got a canon main pairing, basically. And we have got a lot of soft loving things, because that's what the show is about more than it is about the grittiness of the world around it. And that does influence the way people write things. And I think that's where the disclaimers are coming in, because people are maybe also used to having softness in their explicit fic rather than having the hardcore kinks that might need a warning where you'll have to tell them like, yes, this might be non-con, but it's actually consensual non-consent, because we have talked about this. It's just off screen because I don't want to, you want to have the feeling of the character that's being, I guess, sort of raped, or that's in a non-consensual situation. And you don't want to break that immersion by having the entire discussion written beforehand, because that will break the immersion of it all. So I think that's maybe also a part of all of the disclaimers that are being put in figure.
I feel like my brain is breaking open right now. This is very intense for a Friday night. I was not expecting. But are all of my problems because I was not engaged in fandoms before? Is this my first time being in a fandom? Like, I'm very sort of, if I'm not watching our flag, I'm watching Love Island and other reality TV, which is for the most part aggressively heterosexual. There are very little of these types of conversations, and that's the world I'm immersed in. And so when I see something different, like when I'm reading fan fiction, I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. But I'm not realizing what you are saying to me right now, which is that it's all set up very intentionally to give you a safe place to see these things and to explore the feelings and emotions around it. And I'm like, have I been doing everything wrong? This is, I don't know, maybe this is okay. I'm going to go sit quietly for a second.
No, you've also not done anything wrong. It's more like, if it is your first fandom, it's going to be overwhelming to step into it, because this is a massive fandom. It feels to me like it's bigger than Supernatural was, probably also because in Supernatural I was in this sort of rare pair corner where I'm always in the rare pair corner, but that one was way smaller because we had the Wincest versus Destiel main pairing culture war, basically. And I gotta say that we've got Heroes Dutch Comic Con coming up in 2 weeks, and we've got 3 now. Genevieve was also announced, but we've got Supernatural guests and Doctor Who guests, and I'm like, oh god, we're going back to Super Who-lock, But I think if this is your first fandom, you're falling into a pretty big one and a very active one, and that does make a difference. And there will be a lot of output, and there will be a lot of things that you've never seen before. That's not a problem either. It's probably that you're not used to it and you need to acclimatize. It's much easier to do that in your tiny fandom than it is in a very big one.
I'm so old. I'm so old. I'm barely hanging on. My brain is like a rock. It's hardly functioning. So that's, at my big age, I'm like, wait, there's other ways to think about the world. Fascinating.
If there's anything our flag can teach you, right?
Yeah. And you know what, you're right. Also, age has to do with it, because the new generation is trying to make things better than we did. So I'm thinking about growing up, and Wild West. Again, we had 50 Shades of Grey, making it as if that is what it was. And I've had people argue with me that it's a good thing that it came out. It's a good thing that people think about these things. And I go, no, it's really not. It's dangerous. It's harmful. It's terrible. I was of the generation we were unsupervised in chat rooms. The things I learned in chat rooms, just, insanity. Just so consent, things like that. This generation is so good, or the younger generations are so good about this. When my generation, just good Lord. We were all over the place.
It was one of the
I was
first things that
gonna
I
say
learned
as
when I
well.
went to a kink club too. I mean, kink club is maybe kink society. When I was abroad in the UK, and I'm gonna name drop them because they were care. I was in York University there, and they have a kink society. So at university, just people from your age who are also into kink, and we had sort of introductory sessions about different kinks that taught you how to do them properly. And I mostly went to the bondage one because that fascinated me, but I also got a great writing group out of that. And it was just so good to introduce younger people because I think I was 21 when I went there, but I was one of the older people because I went abroad when I was already finishing up my uni degree, basically. But there were way younger people there as well who just didn't know what to do or how to do it because they had sort of grown up on fanfic, but like old style fanfic sort of, where we didn't have the disclaimers like this is not how you're supposed to do it. And they came in with some pretty odd thoughts about, asking people for their consent was not something they thought about. Like they were just going to look at, you know what, let me tie you up. Like, no, you ask them if they're okay with it first. And they ask them if they're okay with being tied anywhere or if they have got zones where you're not supposed to go. And I think that has informed my thinking because I know that before that I was sort of, I had awareness about kink and the basic way to deal with it and, consent, but it only properly framed for me after I came back from that because it's different to read about it than just to be in it. So yeah, I think my writing has changed since I was 21 as well. I mean, it's been 9 years, so should have changed, but I started writing when I was 12. So
yeah,
it's
you're
been a long
absolutely
time.
right. And it also, because we've talked about Andrea so much, the kind of like magical love that just happens that's supposed to be like just perfect from the beginning. Everybody reads each other's minds. And then you've got the love that you work for. And as I've gotten older, the love that you work for has become more what I like. And it's the same thing for kink. So it used to be where if anybody was having like a reasonable conversation about it, I'd be like, that would take me out of the thing. I'd be like, oh, but like, they're like talking about it and like they're checking in and like, and now I'm like, no, that is hot as hell. It's amazing. That is just, it does the opposite. It pulls me in even more. So yeah, we're heading in the right direction, kids. It's what's happening.
Can I just touch on the being in the past fandoms thing and Andrea not having been in a past fandom? I'm in the same boat as Andrea still, and I have been in past fandoms. And if there's any fandom to probably be introduced to fic with, it's probably this one I recommend, even though, I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. I used to be in, not that I've essentially left, it's just that the hyperfixation changes. Hannibal fandom. I mean,
I did watch that show. Again, I wasn't in any fandoms, but I watched the show and I was like, this is a lot's happening here. Is this sexy? I think this is sexy. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Given the context of the show and the writings that people might take out of it, like maybe that, what do you call it? I don't know if like as a Hannibal community, people would be more forgiving of, failure to tag something. Maybe you could write a whole thing and just be like, this is Hannibal fic. Go for it. Nobody gives a shit because the context of the show. It's quite intense. If you've seen it, I love it.
Yes.
But yeah, probably changes up based on, the source material that you're writing a fic for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing that I was obsessed with right before this and kind of indirectly led to this was Saltburn, which again, given what it is, it got real dark. It was a very big contrast. And I switched over to Our Flag Means Death. So the reason we decided, I always thought that we probably could not possibly cover kink in one episode unless we made it like a 5-hour one because there's so much to cover. But one of the things we talked about at the very beginning was things like the prompts for Kinktoberfest and things of that nature. Sometimes you look at them and you go, again, out of the beholder, no judgment. And you go like, how is this kink? And you go like 3/4 of this, 9/10 of this is just facts, like just normal vanilla stuff, if you will. And it's gotten dirtier over the years, which is good. It's gotten kinkier. Yeah, you want to talk your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I talked with a group chat about this as well because we're a group of kinky writers. And our main thing was like 2022 is doing decent, but for a fandom that's like already said, mostly romantic in tone, it felt, wasn't too kinky, but it had some sort of slightly kinky things. You wouldn't expect to see water sports on a boring brackets kinky thing, but it's like, it felt to me, keep in mind, I'm coming from supernatural fandom, felt plain to me. Water sports, I think, was the worst or the heaviest kink on there. I'm just trying to find the 2023 because I did Kinktober in the worst possible way in 2022 and 2023 and 4. I wrote 62 fills for all of those. So I tried to hit most of them. I think the difference between 2022 and 23 was that it was run by someone else. And 2023 tried to include something like prompts with sentences in it, like "be good for me" and that sort of stuff. You could tilt towards anything you wanted to. And then 2024, to me, I just skipped. I went for a completely different way, Kinkier one, because I was like, I'm sorry, this is not what I want to do. So because it came out pretty late, I think, that year, and I tried to plan ahead. Do I still have that? Maybe I could show it to you guys. I had a whole setup for how to do this. But it doesn't feel like it's super kinky. It has some kinks, definitely, but they could be part of the first episode, basically, in that I think of them as pretty light ones you see every day in a fandom that aren't usually even tagged anymore because, for 2022, for instance, you have suits as a kink, which to me doesn't feel like a kink.
Yes.
It's clothing. And
so
I mean, feminization.
Yeah. So I pulled up the list and it's things like beach sex. I'm like, beach sex? As we all know, I literally did that after getting engaged.
So you did
romantic.
You tell us that.
Yes.
That is true.
I overshare constantly in this podcast. Bathing and grooming. That to me, again, it's more romantic than kinky. Wall sex. Again, I'm like, I don't see that as being kinky.
I feel like the 2023 ones were slightly more kinky in nature, at least, where I could accept all of them as being a kink. I mean, sort of the lightest one, if you want to call it that, would be, for instance, facial. But even that feels to me more like a kink than suits.
Do you say suits?
Unless you count
like
suits.
Like clothing?
Suits.
Yeah.
Clothing.
Yeah.
What?
The things Stede wears.
Yeah. So one of the days was suit/desk sex, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh. So sex in a suit.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I was I don't know. I was getting confused. I was like, a sentient suit? What's happening?
I wrote that. Oh, no, write that. Or was it Draco? I don't know. Like sometimes you talk with someone so much. Draco is also Dutch, so we chat a lot. I actually have her coming over tomorrow, so it's going to be fun. We talk a lot about things, and I think Draco wrote cursed suit actually coming to life kind of thing. So that's there. It exists, but it's not the type of thing that's more like sort of crack frig adjacent, I think. Yeah. It is a kink.
Hair pulling. I'm sorry, friends. Hair pulling is not a kink.
It's not even being tagged anymore. It appears in all, but most of the R flag means death. It will appear in, and it's not tagged. It's not going to be tagged because people are expecting it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I wish it was tagged. Go straight for it. Hair pulling. Yeah, I'll read the entire thing. I don't care what it's about.
I think one of the many reasons why I've grown my hair long is so there's more there to pull.
Exactly. What's Ed's hair for?
Exactly.
Pulling.
Precisely.
It doesn't even need to be long for it to be pulled. Because there are some fics that are short, whereas hair is short, like Taika length. It will also be pulled. So.
And Izzy gets his hair pulled left, right, and all around. So
I mean, come on. If you want to yank him around, you need to give him a collar. Otherwise, I mean, the hair just works, right?
I do. Talking to Canon, of course I want to yank him by the hair and pull him around. Right out loud. Especially now. Now he's in my head. More than he was before.
It's an essential.
Oh, write it. Put it out there.
Exactly. I really do need to do that. But yeah, so, and then I do have 2024 as well. And 2024, I think, got a little bit more in the things that I would consider kink. Some of these are really not, like we talked about. One of them is, for example, beta omega heats. I'm like, no, that's like a genre, if you will, or rather than a kink. 69, not a kink. We have knife play, we have breath play.
I think the difference between 2022 and 24, as well as like 23, because I think it changed owners sort of who was running it in 2023, and they were just trying out different things. In 2024, they asked input from other people as well. They had if I remember correctly, it's like a Google form or something where you could just yeet in any kinks that you might want to have on there. And then they left it open for voting. It meant that some kinks fell off because, you've got a load of things that people just don't know what it is at all. I wrote a kink I didn't know, but that was because I was doing the Duck Prince Press version of Kinktober this year. It did help in the sense that they were more crowdsourced rather than someone going through a kink list. I think the 2023 one was already better than 2022. Just copy pasted in the days because I had them listed on my own Kinktober fills. I couldn't find the original Twitter post anymore because I also don't have Twitter, but it seems like the post has been deleted. That one has some good ones too. I think it definitely has grown. It's just not grown where I want it to go, which is a me thing rather than a fandom thing. Because I think for a fandom, this is relatively kinky.
This is true. And you're right. So if you just literally go, hey, list me some kinks, and you ask the interweb, you go maybe go looking for like a consent, like a spreadsheet so you can get together with your partner and like match things up. What you find is like that goes across the spectrum. Sometimes you get stuff like 69, like doggy style. And you're like, wait, okay, maybe something a little more on the other side. Maybe that'll help somebody. So again, I don't want to get, just because I'm a horny amp doesn't mean that I expect everybody to be. But yeah, and I'm sitting there looking some of this consent list going, okay, if they haven't done this with me by the 10th date, we're not dating anymore. So I don't think this is what I'm looking for. And then Red is cracking up, and Andrea is looking horrified. So thoughts on that or anything?
I feel like I'm getting even more confused than I was at the start of this.
Right. Thank you for bringing us more into focus, because one of the things we want to talk about were the more niche kinks, the things that I think for a huge percentage of the population would be considered kinks. I will say quite a few of these are the ones that, again, I'm like, I don't know if I'm into this, or I'm like, then I read a really well-written fic and I'm like, I need to revisit this. I need to revisit my thoughts on that. For example, first one I have right here, because we're talking to Wes, and I'm so sad that they couldn't make it. Water sports for everybody. Something that I was like, and then I have read some fics, so I'm like, maybe I need to have some conversations about this. And Andrea's
hold on.
Listen, I love for people to love what they love. That's great. Just, again, I'm a basic ass bitch. I've watched Sex and the City 1,000 times. That show is not good. Doesn't matter. I've memorized. There's a whole episode where Carrie's dating this guy who's into that, and she's really freaked out. So she offers to dribble water on him while he's laying down with his eyes closed. And then she's like, she's the dirty one and not him. Anyway, it's all I'm thinking about right now, and I'm just getting all stressed out.
No, I didn't see much Sex and the City, but I did watch that one.
It's not good. But yeah, that is an episode that, at least touches on water sports for a show that's quite, speaking of vanilla, a show that's extremely vanilla by its name. It did touch on water sports.
For that time, it was revolutionary, is what it was. The one I should have pulled out, but the one that again just make me rethink things was Stede having to go really bad, and the Steddyhands always teasing him and until. Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay, I'll take that. I'll want to read more about that, please.
Water sports is one of those where I'm like, I would not want this to happen to me personally. There are some writers, and I think I put at least one of them in the Recs section here as well. Lovedhands, just great. The water sport aspect brings them together because that's how it goes, and they are perfect together. And I mean, one of them where I also was sort of hesitant to go like, I don't like this in person. I don't like the idea of it at all. A great writer will convince you to read it at least. It's like completely different. It's still not my kink. If my partner said, I want to try this, I'll be like, hard no, thank you, sorry, no, you'll have to find someone else for this.
Another one that I have in there, is sounding. So sounding, that one though, I will say is one that I will read it now, but I'm still like, no.
Sounding is putting thing in the pee hole, right?
That is correct. That is what sounding is.
Nailed it.
Yep. Barney keeps joking about it anytime I say he's got to be careful about my needles. Do embroidery on the couch in our living room. Every time he just sits down almost on top of my embroidery, I'm like, please be careful of the needles. He just goes, oh, let's just be sounding me, right? I'm like, that's not quite correct, but sure, man. I think people are just going to be confused about us anytime he is going to say that.
I heard a horror story once of somebody getting sounded in the back of a car, and I still to this day have nightmares. Please.
Thank you for putting that one on.
No, nightmare. Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus Christ. On the cross. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. And the one that obviously with this crowd going to work out really well is blood play or knife play, gun play, that kind of thing. Thoughts on that?
I have so many thoughts on it. I started writing this in Supernatural. I mean, I have seen Hannibal, and I did a crossover between Hannibal and Supernatural at some point. It was just perfect for knife play. But knife play, come on, we've got Jim, who's great with knives. Roach, yes, please threaten people with your knives. And then we've got Izzy, who you can do anything to. It's just perfect. It's perfect. And I've not really seen a lot of it in this fandom, or maybe I've not looked for it either, because I just tend to wander from my Archive of Roan inbox into Archive of Roan and then just see whatever the heck falls out. I'm not always great at concentrating on reading, so I just sort of wander in and then wander out again. I go trolling through the tags. People have not recked it to me, in which case just me, I guess. I got the same username that no one can pronounce everywhere. I'm free to do that. I will always try and expand my horizons. It's these characters are just fucking fantastic for it. So many people who are proficient with weapons, with sharp things. We've got plenty of guns. We've got a character that you can do anything to.
Great combination.
And don't tell me that Ed and Stede won't try it anyway.
That's one that's, to me, it's just, there's so much to it. There's control, self-control. There's like, it's so rich. You can write so much about it and how you feel and how it makes the characters feel. It's incredible, especially knife play. Gunplay is another thing. I hate guns. I think they're the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity. Write a good enough fic, and I'm like, okay,
I'll reconsider my stance.
I'll reconsider letting you put that in my mouth. I'm like, whoo.
I think you're saying, control is such a big aspect of it. And that's the thing that draws me in here as well. It's like, for gunplay, I hate guns too. We don't really have them in the Netherlands either. So it's like a foreign object that I don't want anywhere near me. Something about both the person who has the gun and a knife or whatever, the implement that can hurt and that can draw blood, the person who's being subjected to it can just trust each other so much. And I think it all comes, like all of the ones that we've listed, come down to trust.
I think Con said it himself somewhere. I don't know where I heard it or read it. He said Izzy loves love. He wants the gritty shit. I feel like he'd thoroughly enjoy a knife being scraped along him and all that jazz.
Well,
makes sense.
He says it when he's about to be tortured. He says, and I quote, "Whatever you do to me is just going to turn me on." You're listening, Conathan. He says that. The show. Yeah. So you get the character you can do anything to, which is absolutely amazing. It's an incredible opportunity.
Ned is also a character that you can do basically anything to, and people will just go like, yeah, you deserved it, including murdering them. So it's great.
So here's where my brain gets stuck, right? Is that when I first saw the scene, the run me through scene, and this is on me and being not perceive it as flirting. Then I can't explain it. I explained why I didn't perceive it that way. I simply did not. I was like, friends being friends, buds being buds. Like, I don't know. It did not, even with the whole thing of like Izzy, like hearing them, I'm like, that's weird. Like, I just like didn't, nothing was registering. So now that you say that, Ren, I'm like, yes, that was knife play.
I love your brain so much. It's so sweet because
it's so stupid.
Them fighting in themselves already like, oh, they're flirting. Then when Taika opens his coat and you see that little bit of his belly, my brain was already like, poof.
I was like, oh, just being funny. Literally as far as my brain went. I think maybe part of my problem, a particular subject, and again, I keep bringing up other shows that I watch. I'm just like, I'm a TV freak. I watch a lot of TV. What I've also seen 100 times, aside from Sex and the City, is the masterpiece Criminal Minds. I watch Criminal Minds 1,000 times over. Propaganda, I know, but I love it. I used to have a calendar. I have a board game. It's fine. Point is, in Criminal Minds, they have a whole thing about like peakerism. That's a motivation for serial killers, and that's the only thing I'm thinking about. So like, I've just gotta get out of this like very like normie like approach I have to things and think of them outside of the box, because I don't think of myself necessarily a super in the box person, but I'm realizing I am because that's how I think about things. Like, well, Criminal Minds told me that is something serial killers do, and that is all that happens. The end. Like, I don't think about it any further than that.
I think we've really talked about it, but the idea that a kink is something bad is really pretty inherent. I think a kink is only bad if you practice it because you've not been able to do it in a safe environment with people that you trust. That's when it can turn dangerous, because that's, the serial killer type of thing where like, oh, we need to do it like this, murder someone, and also be kinky, be role play at the actuality of, doing this. I think most people will see kink in this sort of environment where it is practiced unsafely and where you have a murder victim at the end of it, because that's how a lot of kinks are being introduced, which is not good. Kink is supposed to be that. Kink is supposed to be safe, sane, and consensual. It's not always. Or risk-aware consensual kink is the newer version, I think. That's slightly more inclusive because safe and sane are hard to define. Whichever one you use, if you are in a controlled environment with people that you trust and you're doing something like knife play or gunplay or whatever, there's still the option of something going wrong, but the chances are way lower because you've talked about it beforehand. You know where the boundaries are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually watching a movie. I not get the name of it now, but it's an older movie that's considered, I guess, one of those like classics you should watch. And the way that you show that you knew that the baddie was a bad guy was by him being into kink. That was like, oh, obviously, he's obviously a crazy person. Look at what he's into.
It's a Buffalo Bill at Silence of the Lambs all over again.
Yeah, no, that's even worse. Yeah, but absolutely. The word kink, like the word queer, has been back by the community, because I remember at some point kind of the saying was, if you are kinky, you don't think of it as kink, meaning if you're kinky, then you don't think of it as a bad thing, because kink meant bad. I think we've taken it back and we go, no, because you're not into it, it does not make it a bad thing. And as long as everybody's consenting, as long as you're doing it safely to you and do whatever you want to do. It's a very, very good point.
Consent to something not being consensual as well. Is like the rape fantasies, the non-con or CNC, consensual non-consent. Somnophilia is, I think, a lighter version of that, where you can someone in their sleep in whichever fashion that you've talked about before. And all of that is about the fact that, that is based on trust. I mean, the only way you can do that safely is by talking it through beforehand. And that's why got a lot of those disclaimers here as well, because talk it through as a crew is such a big thing in this entire fandom, is used as a tag as well. Talk it through as a crew, or they don't talk it through as a crew. Maybe that's also part of why you warn beforehand and go like, hey, this is not how you're supposed to do it. They don't talk it through like they are supposed to, or they have already talked it through. Suspend your disbelief. They have, I don't care, or they've done all the necessary steps that you would do with a partner in real life.
Yeah, really, it's another thing. I think that's another thing that is a generational thing because of the less than stellar track of consent in our generation, and by that I mean me. Older, I'm like, why would there be a problem with somebody doing something to somebody who's asleep? Oh my God, you grew up. I know, in a crazy time. Yeah,
we laugh, we're joking, but Bel, we're only a few years apart, and I feel like truly, like the idea of talking about consent did not exist. I didn't hear those words until I was already well into my late 20s, and I was like, what are you talking about? My entire, life before that had just been like, well, it is what it is.
Go vibes.
and I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but the point is, that was not my experience. And so much of that is generational, as you have said, I'm very grateful to see the changes that are coming in the folks younger than us. Again, my gut reaction, you see my face and you say these things, is like horror, because my only framing is my own experiences, which were not something that I would want to seek out again. Right. So reading about it in a safe place would be something that I could explore and see how I feel about it. I have not. Yeah, I could.
Reading about kink doesn't mean that you have to implement it in your own life that very second as well.
Another thing, so we talked about the feelings being the most important bit of it. Be the hardest part to to define and find yourself when you do something like a kink consent form, because how you want to feel, and you kind of sit there and go, who I want to feel, like what is it that I'm trying to get out of this, and what that, to me at least, the physical bit is a lot easier. I'm like, yep, nope, yep, maybe, but then when it comes to the feelings part is when I go, do I want to feel overwhelmed? And Fics, I think, help see some of that. Is this how I want to feel? Is this how to me? I'll process it a little bit better.
Right. Yeah. Like I feel overwhelmed going to the grocery store. Like, I don't know if I'm like,
that's me. So my total, again, I'm in my here all the time, but I'm a praise slut. Like I love being praised. I have been degraded and insulted and all that way too much in my life for me to ever find that in any way sexual or kinky or like hot or anything. Like I've gotten all the insults. I've been told I'm not worthy. I've all of that. So no, thank you very much. I want to be told that I'm fantastic and lovely and beautiful and all that stuff. Feeling bit is kind of super, super, super important.
Intriguing thing is that, it partner ties me up. I just stop thinking at all. The overwhelm is completely gone in the interest of TMI. I'm not so kinky. But the one thing that we do on occasion when we have the time and space and both are in the mood for it, does require setup, requires us tying up and making sure the safety scissors are there and, getting out the fucking book again because we forget about all the knots in between.
Knowledge.
But it looks so pretty, but it takes so much time. Even if we do that in a non-sexual environment, because that's what we've done too. My partner's tied me up just for aesthetics as well, just for me to be fucking quiet for a bit because my brain just kept running. It quiets me down. And something that you sometimes see, not all kink has to be overwhelming. Sometimes kink helps you feeling overwhelmed because it gives sort of parameters in which you have to operate.
That's an interesting point because I read recently, and this was somebody on Blue Sky. So this is not, I didn't find this, but I read that there's some research being done about when you are neurodivergent, kink can be a tool to help you deal with certain things. And I thought that was very interesting. And I was like, why? Yes, tell me more, because in my experience, yes.
If you're ADHD or if you're autistic, it's going to be great because of the delineation. It's like, well, you can do this and this and this, and you're not allowed to do that and that and that, and you have to complete these steps. You've got the to-do list. You just, the blinders. Let's go.
Yeah. Or you can say somebody else take over. Here are the rules, and then let me not have to make a decision for the next however long. Yeah.
Top thing, right? It's like, okay, please just, I am submissive in the slightest. Tell me what to do, because that's going to make my life so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Going down to the last couple of ones, and I'm going to leave the
Wait, Ren, I want to hear what you are thinking.
Regards to that example of if you've experienced a lot of degradation, what if you have like a Stockholm syndrome to it? It has become one of your kinks.
Absolutely valid. 100%.
Also, that's the point of the safe environment, right? That we've already made several times. Sometimes it can be trauma in real life, but because you're in a safe environment, you can accept it because you know that if you say to someone, hey, you've gone over my boundaries, they will stop and they will take care of you.
Yep. It can be very, very therapeutic. And you're right.
This has actually been quite helpful to me to differentiate would be maybe considered as a kink versus an actual scenario, because now I'm starting to think I'm to do an actual scenario side other things. But anyway, let us continue.
Anything that we feel specifically with voyeurism and exhibitionism within our flagman's death.
We've got buttons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've also got Lucius. And I think that Lucius is such a great character for exposing people to new things. And I think he would be the person who is like, public sex, what do you mean? You guys just walked in on us. I say, great, you do that. Feel like it fits with the entire vibe of the ship as well. It just, unsaid, I think, right? It's a non-stop knocking shop. It just fits so well with the entirety of our flagman's death, but also think that all of them would be in at some point. and like group sex, not necessarily, but the entirety, the closeness that voyeurism would bring. I just think it fits super well, and I also just keep writing it. It's so easy to do. It's so you sort of trip and fall into public sex or in voyeurism or exhibitionism, any of them. I put them together as well for that reason, because I feel like they're closely connected. Like public sex often leads to voyeurism or exhibit. It's
Another thing that I like about our flag is that bad guys mock the nudity. Something about the fact that he's crying so hard, but again, it's not like or anything like that. But nobody goes, it's happening, or let me go the other way because they have nude. And it does give me a little bit of sometimes in fics. I will say that we're like, oh, I'm so glad that I miss buttons because I don't, with him being naked. I'm like, okay. The fact that it's not addressed as a or they're not poking fun at it, or Jack was a fucking asshole anyway.
It's just with the character.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
I like that you said that, Sanne, because I feel like probably it's the thing that I run up against the most, but it probably freaks me out the least if someone else is doing it. Like the whole scene with Lucius, as you were saying, like when we see him really be sexual the first time is with Pete, and Weejon is also just there, like, hello. That didn't send off any alarm bells to me at all. I was like, how fun and nice, So I think he's a character to exhibit that, and it does not. Anyone else, go ahead. So again, Bel, if you want to have group sex and I happen to be around, I won't start crying.
I want to make you uncomfortable with my public sex, darling.
Crying can be a kink. Definitely people who are into making people cry on purpose or getting off on people crying. So maybe you're just, if someone starts crying during group sex, it's actually going to be great for someone in that group. Who knows?
Is that person
Ren is dying and I love it.
I think this brings us towards the end. I think we've covered a lot of the topics that we wanted to talk about.
One thing, and I don't know if it's going to be relevant by the time this airs, because I don't know when it's going to air, but if you want to get involved in Kinktober 2025, it is like 3 prompt spaces are up for grabs in the raffle for Adopt Our Crew auction that's currently running.
So that leads us very nicely to our Fic Recs.
I have quite a list. I actually switched to just giving authors because I was like, oh, this one by lovedhands and this one by lovedhands and this one by this person. Like, you know what? I've got a list of authors that I can rec for anything kinky. And one of which is anathxmadevice with an XSDE, whose fics are fucking fantastic. There's the bootlicking one. I don't have the title offhand. And there's one called Try It, Bite It, Lick It, Spit It. They write mostly Gentlebeard stuff. So I think most people will have read it. And I think I should have opened it before I started wrecking it because I forget what exactly it's about. But I think it was the Try It, Bite It, Lick It, Spit It is also eating panties that have been worn all day, which is, we didn't even talk about that, but definitely one of those things where I'm like, I don't think I want to do that because I'm a bit iffy about bodily fluids in general, but fucking hot. And I can just wreck this author in general because anything they write is hot, and anything. The other authors with lots of good kinky shit, Jim Snows, and between brackets, Aliva May, Burberry Lou, Lovedhands, and Draco the Lizard. Draco, whom I have at some point probably name dropped already. And then Caladria has some very good intimate sensual stuff that just makes you feel like something is super explicit even though it maybe isn't. It just, their fics leave you with a good fuzzy feeling all around. And I have got a couple of specific recs if you want me to keep going.
Absolutely,
I've got
yes.
the Right Heart series by Slutpunk. I think should almost be, required reading if you're into kink, where Stede goes to a leather bar and meets Ed. Lots of kinky sex ensuing. It's a series, so you've got plenty to read. I have got the Baby Bonnet series by lovedhands. I will rec this one specifically if you're into age regression, which we've also not talked about at all, or little space, someone who just wants to be a child basically, or regresses into that sort of space. So Baby Bonnet, as in the age regressed Bonnet, latches onto Izzy as his mommy, and Izzy just goes with it. So Stede definitely has a mommy kink. Izzy has fucking glorious tits. There's a bit of a laxation kink in there as well. And we've got a very confused and slightly completely unbalanced Ed who just doesn't know what to do with his entire fucking situation at all. This is a series as well that has several different kinks per fic, basically. So you can click into the ones that you do like and click out of the ones that you don't like. I think there's also one, at least with kink involved or water sports, whatever we want to call it. And I think there was also one with spanking, but don't quote me on this. So if you're not into that, just don't read that specific one. But that one is great. I've got Look at You, Love. You've Got That Golden Glow by Tragically Nerdy, which is Ed, Stede, and Jim with a breeding kink. That's, I love it. I love it so much, where Jim fucks Stede with a massive strap on because Stede wants to be bred and Ed is just humiliated on the side because his cock isn't good enough and it's not big enough. And it's like, he can't get Stede pregnant at all. There's a light bit of pregnancy kink in there. So if you're not quite into that, or that's a squeak or a trigger, don't read this one, but it's fucking great. They do end up taking care of Jim as well. It's so good. It's also hitting the exhibitionism, voyeurism kind of thing, because Ed is on the side watching and commenting on stuff, and Jim and Stede are basically humiliating him while he's watching, which is... There are so many kinks in this one, and it's very hard to balance, but all of them work out great. And then I think the last one, a very recent one by Florence_after_midnight and lovedhands again, is On Company Time, which is definitely, we're missing Wes. I want Wes in here. But it's a Steddyhands fic where Stede pisses in cups in semi-public spaces, and Izzy catches him, and then finds out when he goes to report Stede to Ed that has been watching all along through company feeds. There is lots of humiliation, some piss drinking, and definitely a dom Ed involved here. It's a great Steddyhands fic. And like I said, I will recommend a lot by Lovedhands. So there you go.
I love it. Sanne, you just gave us kink part 3. We need to cover pregnancy kink. We need to cover age regression.
Yeah.
All of that. Yes. And then there's just, again, the best part of this has been
way over my edges.
I can understand, because pregnancy kink can veer into that sort of territory where it quicks people out, because pregnancy can be triggering to people. Yes. So that's where you gotta sort of walk a very fine line as well. And that's why this one was tagged with pregnancy kink as well. And breeding, we've not talked about breeding either. It's also a great one. Let's do a part 3. I'll come up with even more Recs.
3. Yeah.
I listen, again, no judgment to people who write it, who read it, who love it. I honestly am happy for you that your brain is more open than mine, but all of my body is revolting at this time.
I will say that I was not into it at all until I was no longer able to have children. And then I was like, yeah, bring on the pregnancy kink. Now it's a kink. Before it was horrifying.
Andrea, if you were to start somewhere, I would try the Ride Hard series, because it's also very focused. The love or the feelings between Ed and Stede are also sort of blossoming. I think that one might be great if you just wanted to slide into some kind of kinky thing.
One?
No, the slutpunk series.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, and read anything by Caladria, really, honestly. Their latest fic was The X House, which isn't super, it's autistic Stede all the way. So if you're on the spectrum somewhere, you'll feel super familiar with how Stede is described and how he's continuously overwhelmed by everything. And he's also overthinking anything he says to Ed, because he thinks that Ed doesn't want him anymore. They are exes, and he's definitely proven wrong, but his brain is just so stuck in the whole, this is not going to happen, I don't deserve this kind of mood, that there is some sex in there, but it really feels like it didn't feel needed. It didn't need to be in there. It felt right when it happened, but even if it weren't in there, it would have been great. It's very much focused on the feelings again.
Okay, I'll start there. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I read the first few chapters and I can't wait to read the rest that they've just been putting out lately. So very exciting.
I bet at it. I just when it came out, I just reread it again because it was so good. I don't want it to ever leave my ellipsis, so I always have it with me wherever I go.
Absolutely. Alrighty, Andrea, go for it. And this one's another one that I also recommend. It's wonderful. Go for it.
Yes. So I put it on my list because of my funny story about it. So the fic is The Thoroughly and Entirely Improper Cuddling of Edward Teach by Queen Bee 42. Sorry, Queen Bee 42. It is a FODPic, try that again, FODPic on the Our Flag Means fan fiction feed already by Loopy Danger Frog. So I started listening to the podcast well before I, spoke to Carly and started getting involved. And I put this on not knowing really anything about like, what is fan fiction? I had maybe read like one. And I put this on while I was driving to the bougie neighborhood where I live. And I had it on a normal volume. And then I parked my car and I put it in my headphones and I was walking and I was listening to it. And I was like, wow, there's a lot happening here. I'm very overwhelmed. But I started, so I guess I'm going to just like continue it. And so for context, this story, I guess it is kink, right? If there's like a cuddle kink, is that a thing? That's a thing, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting some nods. But yeah, so basically it's about like Stede is a professional cuddler and Ed is his client, and it quickly changes the relationship. But all of that to say, I'm listening to it in my headphones and I'm like, okay, wow, this is like a lot. And I get into my car and I turn it on. And the problem with a car that is too smart is that it will just turn back on to like whatever volume you had it on when you parked. And I had my windows down, and it was like summertime or whatever, and just blasting out the windows in this very bougie neighborhood. There's a woman with her grandson going by on his little bike. There's like a family walking their dog. It's like middle of the day, beautiful day, and just starts blasting out the window like they're fucking on the sink. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So yeah, I mean, I can never go back there again. Thankfully, I'm poor, so it's not like I'm welcome there anyway. But yeah, it's a great little story, although it did cause me some trauma. But again, my own fault for having the volume up so loud in my car.
I love that so much. That is a wonderful story, and it's a wonderful fic.
I think I have one. It's called Teacher's Pet, and it's unfinished, and it's a teacher-student relationship between Ed and Stede. Age gap, so if you're not into that, don't go there. But it's unfinished, and I really want this person to finish the friggin' thing because I want to know what happens next. So them _bones with a Z, finish the friggin' thing. Keep writing it. I love that shit.
Them bones. This is an open threat. Finish your fan fiction.
Yes, I am threatening you. Finish the story or else.
That is a wonderful segue to my Recs, because the first one is also me. Very lovingly threatening. Sunspec Freckle, whom I adore. I read a fic of theirs. It's in the podcast as well. But they have this story that they have 4 out of 7 chapters out that made me so very happy, and it's called The Sublime Vacancy. Its eventual Steddyhands starts with Izzy, and it's super, super, super hot. Stede decides that his first time as a gay person, or like the first thing he wants to do is go to a glory hole. And lo and behold, the person on the other side of the glory hole is one Israel Hands. So it's wonderful. It's lovely. Please, please, please keep going. I need this. I need this so badly. Love you, Sunspec Freckle. Another one that I just found out recently as well, as I was listening to SoundCloud, has been amazing for me for podfics, because I listen to them a lot as I'm just driving around or riding my bike around town. And Under Lock and Key, that's another one that is a kink that I was like, meh, not my thing. And then I listened to this fic and I was like, I need to think about that. So it's a cock cage fic, and it's written fantastically, super hot. Let's add that to our kink 3 list of the and it's by Z Straps. The next one that I'm recommending is The Space Between Us by One Happy Days, and that one is really interesting. It's a voyeur Stede fic, and it's got an extra element of basically everybody in his life beforehand shaming Stede for his voyeurism until Ed, and then Ed and him just click. It's a really beautiful, very feel fic, but also just very, very hot. So Stede Bonnet is the next 2 fics that I have to rec, and that'll be the end for me. So this one is There's No Such Thing as Bad Dogs, Just Bad Owners. So that one is a puppy play. Let's add that to the list. It's a sprizzy. So it's Izzy and Lucius. I don't like the bit that they go Dick Ed and Dick Stede, but everything to do with the kink itself is fantastic. It's a really I love anything Stede Bonnet writes. So, and then the other one is their whole series It's the Steddyhands filled without focus. It's got, I would say, like 8 stories, maybe even more, and it covers a wide variety of kinks. So if you want to try that, it's very well written, of course, as we all know from Stede. Bonnet. Okay, so that brings us to the end. So my friend,
I feel like this is going to end up being like this recording is going to have to be split in 2 because it's so long.
It could very well be.
So it's probably going to be like a 2.0 and a 2.5 and then a 3.
Yes, it could very well be.
I mean, we're never going to stop talking about kink or run out of items to talk about when talking about kink because we've basically touched on 4 things or so.
Yes, exactly. So much to talk about. Exactly. So yeah, let's see how many we end up doing. But as we wrap things up, what are you working on? What are you looking forward to?
I am currently working on my reverse Big Bang, wrapping up the final bits. Basically, I'm editing it right now and talking about with my artist Mana. Great. Oh my God, I can't wait until it's out in the world. But we're still chatting about the way I describe art in my fic to see if we can expand on that. It might end up being 60,000 words. No kink at all, but very soft. I will be working on my Big Bang. I will be working on Izzy Hands Bingo, so there will be lots of kinky shit happening to Izzy soon on my Arc of Our Own page. And I'm looking forward to, tomorrow, which is not going to mean anything, but we've got a tiny Dutch pirate meetup tomorrow, which we do once every few months or so, just chatting with people in real life. And I'm looking forward to receiving my Taika items. My upcoming, I'm going to follow Reese into the UK tour thing twice and eventually do the weekon in Edinburgh as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Which ones are you doing in the UK?
I am seeing Reese in Bristol, Newcastle, Glasgow, and Manchester. And I will be back for the Fringe as well for few dates.
That's lovely. Wonderful. Yep. Excellent.
Talking to my therapist about all my hangups. That is what I will be working on. So that's me.
All right. Looking forward to hearing how that goes. Fantastic. For myself, I am looking forward to seeing Andrea's face again, 2 more times within the next 12 hours or so, because we've got another kink episode plus a pirate hour. If everything goes well, I will have a Steddyhands tattoo by the time Monday rolls around. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a lot of things. My trip to the UK as well for Unicon. So I have a very exciting few weeks coming up. Anybody want to give up their online presence so that they can be contacted, kudoed?
I'm scared of getting yelled at. Don't look at me.
That works.
No, but if people want to tell me about, if somebody wants to diagnose me, that'd be cool. So you can find me on Blue Sky at Pajarito Botones, Birdie Buttons. The US healthcare system is broken, people. We can't afford therapy. We need you all to diagnose us. If anybody wants to diagnose me too, go for it. Yeah.
Horny. Done.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, never had a hinge in your life.
Enough. I was born without hinges. It's true.
Yeah.
Sanne or Ren, where you can be found.
You can find me online as my screen name, which is F Popper, which is basically F proper, but without the R, FPOPER. I am, not everywhere, but I am on most online spaces. I've also got a link tree, but you can find me most easily on Arc of Our Own, Discord, or Tumblr, Blue Sky. That's where I mostly hang out. I've got accounts on basically every platform at this point, but I'm not really around on any of them. And if you do want to help out on the potentially frightening freighting shipping costs from getting stuff to me, then you can yeet money at me through Ko-fi, because honest to God, I may have overplanned. I have got the money, but if you want to help out, I will probably be putting up embroidered buttons soon as well for our flag, because I did them before and I will probably do them again, but with a proper marketing this time around. Oh, and I keep forgetting about this, but I'm a published author. You can find erotica writing from me in my link tree as well, or you can find me as Burg. It's really honestly better if you try and find my link tree and then click on the link there, because I will not be spelling all of that. It's still too early.
I forgot I'm a published author, whatever. That's amazing. That's so cool.
I know.
It's because it's very much a side hustle that I forget about, because I've published like 3 or 4 explicit short stories, and that's about it. And if you do read them, you might recognize some of the people as they're described. It is published with Duck Prince Press, and they are very much a publication platform that focuses on getting fan creators turned into original creators, or like fan creators who want to publish their own original stuff. So they're very open towards filed off fan fiction as well.
Wow. So basically, we should all be honored that you even write on AO3 because we get that for free when you actually get paid. So thank you for your service.
Yes. I mean, sorta. Let's put it as sorta. I have got way more words up on Aqua Own than I have published with the Prince Press. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, Ren, follow that. Just kidding.
You can probably find me Blue Sky, where a lot of people most likely yell at me. So come fucking yell at me on Blue Sky. My name is Tiki Waititis, as in, a play on Taka's name.
As in,
So funny. Oh my God, special. And yeah, I don't care. Come abuse me, scream at me. I don't give a shit. Come find me there.
Well, they could maybe also tell you about group sex you could watch. So let her know if there's group sex that they can come in and observe.
If there's group sex involved, come at me at Tiki Waititi Blue Sky.
I love it. Excellent. I love it so much. And I'm on the metas under Bel, Salt and Bank. And for everything else, I am Perilous and Wicked, included on AO3. My fics, my pot fics though, are under Whiskey Tango Foreigner. So yeah, come listen to this voice tell you filthy things. Although I did record a non-filthy fic recently that I'll be submitting to Carly to put on this podcast. So, and if you want to be involved in the podcast, if you want to read a podfic, submit it to us. If you want to do like we did and get together and have an episode and talk about anything and everything, because there's just nothing that we will not take, as long as not hatred. We want love and happiness and kindness, other than the threatening to beat me up. But yeah, no, just
because you deserve it.
Fair enough. I do deserve it, and who knows, I'll probably enjoy it.
That might be my kink. Being beaten up. Relax.
Exactly.
As long as you chat about it beforehand.
Exactly. See, it all comes together. If you want to get involved, if you don't want to do this, but you have suggestions of things you want to do, if you have suggestions for kinks we haven't covered and you want to hear about, let us know. Carly is amazing about keeping up with all the socials. Our flag means fan fiction on Instagram and Blue Sky and all of the things. Plus, our flag means fanfiction at gmail.com, where you can write to her and come be part of this amazing community that we've created here.
Yeah, after hearing all this, don't you want to
come listen to my unhinged ramblings on Discord? We have a little Discord spray bottle to cool me down every time I say something too ridiculous. So
yeah, by my request, I said we had to add a spray bottle emoji for Bel.
Yes, and that's how I sometimes discipline puppies. So let's not go into puppy kink just yet.
Puppy play should also go into the next one.
Exactly, puppy play for sure. So until next time, my dear friends, do creations, be cringe, commit crimes, and by all means, get kinky. Bye.